In this Star Wars Battlefront 2 news update video, I'm going to be explaining what on earth is going on with the game right now, as well as Star Wars Battlefront 2015, which is completely unplayable for some people. Before we do dive into all of today's news though, make sure you do subscribe to this channel so you won't miss any future news updates on Battlefront. So, over the past few weeks or so, there has been a significant downgrade in the player experience across both of these games. Both Battlefront games are experiencing unplayable states at this moment in time, and I want to make this video to raise awareness in hope that something can be done. Also to alert anyone that does check out these games and are wondering what on earth is actually happening. As you can see, the player count for Battlefront 2 has dropped significantly since the resurgence. It sustained for a few weeks, but now we are back to the player count being as low as it was pre-resurgence, so very low. You can see in just the past month or so, it has dropped quite a bit more than usual, and there is a good reason for this. Hacking has become more prominent than it was before. It's already plagued most of the Galactic Assault lobbies over the past few years, but it's actually gotten even worse, it seems like. I also do think a big factor in this is due to the fact that far less people are playing the game. Back during Resurgence, there were hundreds of thousands of people playing, and on PC alone there was tens of thousands of people, much more than usual, so there were way more servers and way more lobbies, and not more hackers. Well, now there are far few people playing the game, we only have a small amount of lobbies, and you go into one and, well, it's got a hacker in typically, especially in Galactic Assault. Other modes aren't plagued by this hacking problem, except for the occasional cheater here and there, but the main problem is that most people just don't want to play those modes and the population is far lower, so yeah, people gravitate towards Supremacy, Heroes vs Villains and Galactic Assault is busted. I will just quickly say that it did squeeze into the top 20 most downloaded PlayStation 4 games in the US and Canada in September. It was the 17th most downloaded. In August it was 10th, and then the month before it was 2nd, and then before that it was 1st for 2 months. So you can see the decline in the player count and interest in the game. It's just nosedived. It's still within the top 20 most downloaded PS4 games, so that's not bad. EA teams are aware of this situation, and hopefully this can be resolved in the future. I do think it is necessary, however Kyber V2 is coming, so once that is fully out, a lot of people are going to transition from the vanilla version of the game to Kyber V2 because cheating is just not going to be prevalent on there. It also unlocks so many more capabilities, and it's going to be free. Despite what some people say, it's free. It will be free. It's just in a closed beta playtest right now. I already uploaded a video the other day with news updates on Kyber V2's situation, and it's looking very good. Just stay tuned for more updates. I have also seen some people call for EA to introduce the EA anti-cheat called Javelin that was brought into more recent games and some older games as well, such as Battlefield 1 and Battlefield 5 into Battlefront 2. Now, this new anti-cheat system has worked wonders in Battlefield 6, DICE's new release. It's done very, very well and is banning people across the board. So there's a lot of people that want this introduced into Battlefront 2, as we've seen with older DICE titles and even older games like Plants vs Zombies, Garden Warfare 2. The problem is it's an arms race, so whilst you do ban cheaters immediately, they will eventually break through and they'll be back, and then they will have to implement more fixes. And this is a game that isn't being played by a ton of people. It's closing in on 8 years old. It would also kill mod support and Kyber, so if you care about mods and care about Kyber, this will be a problem, a major problem. It will stop that. And if I'm perfectly honest, Kyber is going to be the future of this game rather than anti-cheat. The Kyber team themselves are already implementing their own sort of anti-cheat and have a robust reporting system and such, so that's where it needs to be. Moving on to what is going on with Star Wars Battlefront 2015, because it is basically unplayable for more than a third of the entire player base. It can't be played on Xbox right now. You cannot connect to the servers. This started happening a few weeks ago, so around mid-September. I saw a few posts on the subreddit and I thought this was just going to be one of those typical occasional server outages that happens maybe once a year and they get to fix it fairly quickly. But that's not the case. It has been a few weeks since this started occurring, and since then no one can play online on Xbox. Some people might say, well, no one's playing Battlefront 2015, but as you can see by the posts on the subreddit and the complaints on the EA forums, there are still people that are playing this game, even though it is a game that not many people do play. There are still people that want to play maps that you can't play in Battlefront 2. Yeah, it's really disappointing because this game is fast approaching its 10th anniversary. Can you believe it? Next month. Wow. Literally in a month from now, which is crazy. The worst part is that with the game being almost always online, you can't actually play some stuff offline, including single-player only content. If you turn your console offline, you can load into a bunch of the game modes. However, you will get kicked out if you don't actually own like a physical copy of the game or I think a digital license. If you have it through Game Pass, for example, you will get kicked out after a few minutes because it's like, we can't check that you own this game. This is so sad to see, and I really hope this is fixed, but no one from EA so far has commented on the issue. There is nothing on the forums, which is extremely disappointing. At this moment in time, EA do have bigger fish to fry with the release of Battlefield 6. I'm sure most of the teams that work on server issues, things like that, are busy working on Battlefield 6, making sure that's going as smoothly as possible, but this does need resolving because this game is still active, and I've seen people say this is because EA are deciding to turn off the servers completely, and that's not the case. That's not how it works. Currently, only the Xbox version of the game is affected, therefore it would not be a turn off because they would be doing this across PC, Xbox and PlayStation. On top of that, EA announced that they are going to be disabling the servers permanently for their games months or years in advance. They have not said anything, and they actually just rolled out a recent list of games that will be shutting down at the end of the year. That said, those are much older games than this game, and some of them are more recent, but they're sports games. The sports games are disabled within a few years, whereas games like Mirror's Edge from 2008 and Battlefield Bad Company 2 only had their servers turned off last year, and they're a much older game than this one. Ultimately, people still play this game as opposed to those games in terms of the population on console, so just something to keep in mind. I'm really sick of people posting on the subreddit saying that the servers have been shut down permanently by EA, I think, based on absolutely no evidence and not using any logic. Yes, the servers are broken right now on Xbox, but I'm sure they will be fixed. When that will happen, I don't know. Hopefully it's sooner rather than later, especially for this 10th anniversary that's coming up very, very soon. EA have done a very good job at looking after the servers for both of these games since support ended. For example, the 1HB bug in Battlefront 2 was a major issue. They came back and sorted that. They activated the unlimited power event when it was broken, things like that. I'll make a community tab post as and when this does get resolved because I don't think it does warrant its own video unless something significant does occur with that situation. It's hard to believe that it's been 10 years since this game came out, and it's still difficult to find games with all of this DLC because this game had incredible DLC. The game also has private matches, which Battlefront 2 does not have, so even more reason to make sure this game continues to live on. I'd love to hear your thoughts on anything I've talked about in this video, so please do let me know down in the comment section below, and remember to drop a like to help support the channel. Subscribe so you don't miss any future Star Wars Battlefront news updates, and if you do miss any of my previous videos, click on the playlist on the screen right now, and I shall see you in my next video. Goodbye.